Okay, so today's class we will talk about neutral colors. What are neutral colors? We will also discuss tint, tone, and shade, and color context, and the Munsell color system. So all of this we will talk about today. So, there is a set of colors that we call neutral colors. Okay, so what are neutral colors? They don't show up on the color wheel that we see last time. They don't show up, so you don't see them on the color wheel. And they don't lean towards any particular hue. What was a hue last time I discussed? The pure color that we see on the color wheel. These colors don't lean towards any of these hues. So you cannot say this color is close to what or this color close to what exactly. You cannot tell, okay? So how are these colors created? They are created by mixing what complementary colors, like red and green. What are complementary colors? On the color wheel, opposite to each other. So red here, for example, green will be the opposites. By mixing those, any opposite color on the color wheel is called complementary. By mixing those, you create neutral colors, okay? The set of neutral colors. Also, you can create these by adding black, white, or gray to a color, to an original hue. You can add white, black, gray, and you can create neutral colors also in this way, okay? And so, as a result, these colors create a more calm look. So when you look at these colors, they look calm in a way, not very strong, not bright like the original hues on the color wheel, okay? So these are more calm colors. They are versatile, so we have quite a few of them, so they're versatile. There is a lot of colors that we can call neutrals, so it's not just 1, 2, or 3, okay? So they are very versatile, and all of them create different levels of calmness, and they're more balanced, not very striking, not very bright like the others, the original. So here is the color wheel. So we said complementary colors. So for example, the yellow and purple, mixing those create neutrals. Red, green, we already said that. Okay, any opposite on the color wheel mixing, you create neutrals. Here, for example, is the same. So red and green. By mixing different amounts, you create all these colors that are neutrals. Okay. By mixing purple with yellow. Where is yellow and purple? Okay, you create again neutrals. The same here, orange with blue. Blue, orange, okay? You create a set of neutrals that are more calmer, less bright than the original colors, the hues, okay? Now, look, complementary colors, so colors that are opposite on the wheel, always contain all three primary colors. What are the three primary colors we talked about? Yellow, blue, and red. Those are the three primary colors. Now, complementary colors contain all three. How? How is this happening? Well, yellow, for example, and purple are complementary because they're opposite on the wheel. So how they contain three primary colors? Well, yellow is a primary color. Purple is created how? By mixing red with blue. So red and blue are primary. So in fact, you have all three in one, okay? Now let's see red with green. Red is a primary color. Green, how is it created? By mixing yellow with blue. Yellow and blue are also primary. So any complementary color contain all three primary colors. So by mixing all three primary colors, what do you create? neutral colors. This is what it means. When we say mixing complementary, it's actually mixing all three primary colors together. And this creates all this set of neutrals, depending on how you mix. So, what is the purpose and use of neutral colors? Now, they are called colors, but in reality, they are not part of colors. But we still have to call them colors because how to discuss. Like black and white. They are not colors, but we still call black color, white color, but it's not a color. The neutrals the same, okay? They are not actual colors called, but we still have to talk about them in this way. So what is their purpose and use? They have several quite good purposes. For example, they can create balance. They soften what bright, bold colors, because let's say primary colors, if you use them as a pure hue, they're very bright and very, strong. But the neutral, they soften the brightness, so it becomes less bright. And it's very important in design. We cannot, in every design, put only pure hues, everywhere bright colors. In any design, be it an interior, a poster, we cannot have too many bright colors. It is very uncomfortable for the eye. It can be tiring to look at. The whole design if it's too bright, become not good. Okay, so these colors soften these bright colors. Okay, soften it, become more calm, more comfortable to look at. They can be used as backgrounds. This is very useful. So, for example, a background color can be a neutral type, and then on top you can put, for example, more brighter colors which will stand out. But imagine you have a background, let's say a poster, a very bright background, red, for example, or yellow. Whatever you put on top, it will not be visible. It will be confusing, okay? The same with an interior. Imagine we color now the walls with bright colors, the pure hues. It will not be very comfortable. To look at it. It will be very tiring for the eye. So, neutrals are good for backgrounds, on which other elements of design can be placed to create a composition. They can set a mood. Of course, any color you use set a mood, but when you have all these neutral colors and you use them in a design, they set particular types of moods, like the beige, the cream, for example. If you put them in interiors, they make the space more cozy, comfortable, while if you put too many bright colors, what happens? It becomes stressful. You don't feel comfortable in this interior. So these colors are more for comfort, to make something look more comfortable to look at and be around. So the mood here also important as for any other color. Enhance focus. Because they are not visually distracting. While the bright colors are visually distracting, those colors are not distracting. So they can help with focus when we are talking about design also. So they have a lot of good uses depending on the design. Now here, examples in interiors. As you can see, what are these colors here? Neutrals, as you can tell. Then they can be combined, as we said, with certain aspects of the design that have more brighter aspects, brighter colors. But in this case, these brighter items will stand out. They will be more standing out than the rest. And this creates a nice balance. Now, if we have here a bright color, here a bright color, bright, 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 everywhere bright, what will happen? Nothing will stand out. Everything will be like too uncomfortable to look at and be around. Okay, but these are calming colors, and then we have certain elements that stand out. Okay, more examples. More examples. As you can see here, these are neutral colors, and then certain items, certain parts of the design can be more bright to stand out, as we said. Okay, but the majority is neutral. There is a wide range of neutral colors to be used. The brighter colors, always in a design, is very sparingly used. You never, whatever the case, use too many bright colors in a design. It's always where you want to attract more attention, to make something stand out, a certain element. But too much bright colors is always a bad idea, always. It's always the neutrals that are used, especially for big areas. Like when we say a wall, this is a big area, okay? When we say a poster background, this is a big area. But if you have a small part that you want to draw the attention, it can be a bright color. But big areas, never you use bright colors for it. Always the neutrals. Of course, neutrals can be used on their own without any bright color. For example, this is for fashion design, for clothes example, but it can be also used for graphic, for interior, for any aspect, the same rules, okay? So you can use them on their own, neutral colors. Now we will talk about hues, tints, tones, and shades to exactly understand what is the difference. Now we said hue already is a pure color without mixtures. It's the pure color. Now, when we take this hue and we add white to it, different degrees of white, we create tints. So the hue becomes a tint, okay? When we take the hue and we add grays to it, it became stone. If we add black to it, it becomes a shade, okay? So these important words. So if we say tint, you have to understand, it's a hue, add white to it. If we say tone, it's the gray. If we say shade, black is mixed into the hue. So you have to understand these words, very important, okay? Here are examples. So hues, these are hues. Examples of what? Pure colors. As you can see, they are very bright, okay? Very bright, very strong. Here, a pure hue has been added with what here? Gray. So it becomes what? The more gray you add, the less saturated it becomes. This is another important word. So the hues alone, on their own, are fully saturated. We call them fully saturated, okay? So the fully saturated hue, once you start adding, mixing some other color to it, it becomes less saturated. So we can have gray, black, white, okay? So it becomes less and less saturated. You have to understand. So when someone tells you, talks about saturation, what it means regarding color. Fully saturated, what it means, it's a pure hue. Less saturated means there is a mixture. But how much? The more, the less it becomes saturated, okay? Here, an example of what? Tints. What is a tint again? Pure color, a hue mixed with white. And you can create compositions only using this aspect. So you start with a pure hue and then you start adding white, slowly, step by step, and you can create compositions only made out of tint, okay? Shading. What is shade? Adding black to a pure hue. So you start with a pure hue and you start slowly adding black, and there is many variations here. And this is also a good aspect to to basically apply in a design, because it is not a good idea in any design to use too many colors. Like, for example, too many, let's say, red and yellow and blue and green and purple and this and that, to put too many types. It's better to use one, for example, red, and add to it shading. So, for example, add to it black, and look at this, for example, interior. This is with one color, but shaded. And then you can have different aspects to it. It creates a much better design than having too many types of colors in one. You use one color, for example, and you shade, or, shading is one example. But I can also add white to it, I can add gray. This is adding with black, and different aspects can be, so the same color used, but with the mixtures. Okay, this creates much better designs than changing the color. So using many different colors from the color wheel all in one design, never a good idea. Never a good idea to use too many colors. The same way, if you have a design and you have text, you cannot use too many text types, font types in one design. Also the same with color. So when you change, you have to be very careful. For what reason, not to overdo it, okay? So this basically helps us to create better designs in the end, this knowledge, okay? What is this? Adding gray tone. So we start with a pure hue and we add gray to it. And also, this can be applied in designs in many ways. It can create very beautiful effects. Instead of, again, changing the essential color, putting more colors, you have one color, and by adding gray, you create different levels that create better designs in the end. It doesn't matter what design, clothes, interiors, posters, anything, okay? So this is another option. So we have what? Pure hues from the color wheel, and we can create tints by adding white, tones by adding gray, and shading with adding black, okay? We also have the grayscale. This involves only black and white, starting with white, ending with black, and all the grays that can be created. And this alone can be used in design. So we can use grayscale without any other color, okay, to create compositions. Now, the Munsell color system, very important thing. This, it was created in a long time ago, so over 100 years ago, and it's a scientific color system. Scientific and used till today. Not only in design, no, even the science fields use it. So it's used in a lot of fields, use this system because it's very scientific, and the color, every color have a number to it, a specific number. So when we refer to any color, it's according this system with a number, okay? So any color in the Munsell color system can be described by 3 properties that are measurable. That means 3 properties that can be measured, meaning it will have a number to it that can be identified. What exactly color is this? It is not a random thing, okay? Very detailed and very specific. So what are the 3 measurable properties through which we can identify a color? The hue, first of all, okay, the hue, the type of color. For example, red, yellow, blue, from the color wheel, okay? Where are the hues here? You see these? These are the hues from the color wheel, okay? The second, the value. Value refers how light or dark the color is. Look here, value, how light or dark. What this refers to, this in the center here. You see? This is actually the grayscale. If you notice, black, white, and in between the grays. So the more this wheel we put up, the lighter the colors become. The more we put down, the darker the colors. And this is called the value, okay? So this can go up, down, the wheel, okay? And each time we create different sets of colors by mixing each color with the gray. So when it moves up, each time it creates more and more colors. So there is a wide variety here, okay? And the value again refers to how dark or how light the colors are, okay? And we have chroma. Chroma refers how pure the color is. The hue, we know it's the purest because it doesn't have any mixture in it. Okay, but the chroma refers to how pure it is. So this one is the purest, for example. When we start adding this gray slowly to it, it becomes less and less pure, okay? But when we take this wheel and, for example, we move it up and mix it with this gray, or this gray, or this, each time we will create a different set of colors. So this is in a very simple term explained. So we end up with a lot of colors, but each color have a specific number to it. It's not just random colors. It's specific number. We will see in a minute. So this is here the Munsell color system you can find like in books. So if you go to any, for example, graphic design company, printing shop, they have these books. If you go to science laboratories, they have this book because they use also colors. For example, to identify the color of the soil in agriculture, in science, they use specific colors, mean specific things. So they use this system in science, in design, in many, many fields, okay? When you see colored plastics, for example, again, they're colored according to what? What is this color? It is one from the color, from this system, chosen, okay, by number, not randomly. Textiles, colored, again, according to what? This system. So all the industries use this, because each color identified with a number. Like here, for example, okay, we have a color with this number. For example, 5R4-14. It doesn't mean anything to us. But if you open the book and you search for it, you will find it. 5R, well, I can't see it here. 5R is this one here, okay? So this is the 5R, and it's located here. But notice, this is red. For example, you see it as red, but there is many variations here, okay? But this is, let's say, the 5R, okay? The red number 5, okay? So it's here. And then we have this number 4 refers to the value. So how light or dark it is. So number 4 is located where? Do you see this here? This column? This is like this one. This is this one here, okay? The center. Notice again. So how light and dark. So number 4 is where located here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Here is number 4. So it's slightly dark. You notice what it says here? Slightly dark, because it's located here. So it's like a little bit more towards the dark. It's not the center, a little bit darker. If it goes up, it will become lighter. So again, the 5R is this color here. So this is here about the 5R. But here, different mixtures. So we have 4, again, which is the value. And then we have 14, which is about the chroma. You see 14 chroma. So where is number 14? This is 4 here, and 14 is here, the last one. So it shows a very intense bright red. But these words don't mean anything to us. Like if I tell you, okay, very intense bright red, what does this mean exactly in color? And nobody will understand words. We need a number. So each of these, like this is the 5R, for example, options. Each of these have these numbers, okay? So all of them are 5R, but which, where, how light, how dark, it comes with a number. How much is the chroma, the purity of the color, okay? For example, 14. So where is it located? Ah, here, for example, okay? So we know exactly how this color looks like, okay? Because many of the colors are similar. How can you identify this compared to this or this compared to, it's very difficult, okay? But when we have a number and you say, I want, for example, something to be colored with this number, with this color or this color or this color, the number is always the same. So the mixture will come out 100% accurate. Whoever uses this same color, it will be the same, okay? So this is very good for standardizing what the different colors, because we have so many, okay? Now, let's revise some of the very important terminology. Again, a hue is what again? The pure color, okay? So for example, this is a pure red, nothing mixed in it. Value or tint. Notice it's the same meaning. So the value, the lightness of the hue or darkness of the hue. So the hue, how light, how dark it is. So when we mix white, the more white we put, the lighter it becomes, okay? But this also means tint. You see the same thing, the same meaning. So the value, the lightness, but it's when we talk about lightness, we are adding, for example, white, so it means the same. Here, value, okay? Darkness of the hue. This is about, look, this is value, and this is value. Because value can be light or dark. But when we say lightness, it means tinting, okay, tint. When we say dark, that means we're shading, we're adding black, for example, okay? So the darkness of the hue, just to differentiate, okay? Okay, what is chroma here? Chroma means the same like saturation or tone. Tone was what? Adding gray to a pure hue. So this plus gray, okay? But we also saw that this is called chroma in the Munsell system, okay? So we add different grays, the color become less and less pure, the more gray we add. And it also means saturation, because the more gray we add to a pure hue, the less saturated it will become. So these words mean really the same thing, okay? Value alone. Look here, value, value, value. Here, value with lightness, value with darkness. Value alone, value as a word means lightness or darkness. And so it can mean either going towards lightness or going towards darkness, okay? So these are important terminology just for you to understand. Now, another thing we will talk about is color context. Now, this is a very wide topic and very important one. We will cover here only the basics, just a general explanation for you. But once you start designing, you will see it's really very complicated. So, how color behaves in relation to other colors. So it's like when you have one color and you have on the background another color. So these two colors will interact and your brain will interpret it in a different way than if you see the color alone. So if I look only at red, I will see it in a certain way. But if I add the red with a black background, for example, or red with a white background, or red with orange, or red with blue, and many other examples, it will change the way I see the red. And any color. So any color, if you put next to it or behind it a different color, it can change how you see the original color. And the combinations can be endless. So, so sometimes the color can appear brighter or darker or look in a different way, as if it's another color, just by what other colors you combine with it, next to it, behind it, okay? This is very important because in many designs you have one color next to another color, or for example, a background color, and on top, let's say a background color of a poster, on top you have text, for example, or another color, a shape with another color. So how these colors will interact with each other and what do you see in the end? So if you choose the wrong combinations, you might end with results you don't want. So here, for example, if you take a color and you change the background, the color, the same color, will look different, will appear different. And depending on what colors you put, here are some explanations why it happens, okay? So if they're complementary, for example, on the color wheel, complementary, if you mix this color and you put a background with the opposite color, it can create certain effects. But if you choose this color and you choose a color next to it and put it as background, it creates a totally different result. And here are many examples. Okay, so we have a color, we change the background, and the color itself sometimes appear different. So this is the original, but here it looks different than here. Okay, so this is very important to understand the basics. So you can go through this and read and try to look at the color wheel at the same time and see why this happens, you know. And you will have exercises on this also to do later. So this is another color. This is another color. Look here, it looks very different. Look here, and here with this background. The color itself changes sometimes. Like it looks more green or more blue or more, depending on what you combine with it, because these colors combine together and your brain interprets the combination of what you see. You don't see it alone. Here we see it alone. Here, no. We see it as a combination. So it can change the result. Now, for today, this is enough, the information. Next class, I will explain 3 exercises, okay? 3 exercises based on things we went over this lecture, okay? These 3 exercises, you will start. You have a lot of other exercises to do. During the holiday, you will start with them, you have to, okay? And after the holiday, we have work in class, okay? So next class, I explain this. The class after, which will be after the holiday, will be what? Work in class. Very important to remember, because you have to bring all your materials, all the drawing materials to class, and I want to see what you worked on. So until now, from the beginning, what you worked on, okay? I need to see some examples. You don't have to have finished everything, but some examples. And in class, you will continue coloring, drawing. Is that clear? Don't come after the holiday and tell me I didn't know I have to bring my materials, okay? So, all the materials with you and work in class. Next class, what? Only explanation. If you want to show me anything, you're welcome after the lecture.